I think the fear, needing to be liked. In some ways, I'm still working with that, but needing that approval of the people who like my videos, or of my parents, or of anyone particularly, of needing that outside proof, or needing to prove that I'm working hard and have earned where I'm at, or needing to have that approval that I'm good enough. And I've worked with that in many different iterations, because it's lived in my psyche in sort of different, with sort of different faces or voices. But really transcending that helps me to trust, well, if I feel called to create this piece of art, then that's not me. That's coming from some need for this art to be born. So all my purpose is to be that emanation and to share that piece of art. And whatever it does, that's not my job. That goes out and is going to affect people the way it's going to, or not. And just trusting that as being good and right and what it needs to be. And trusting the no, like we were talking about before. Trusting that if I'm saying no to something that doesn't feel in my body completely like I'm on fire with it, that means that I'm saying yes to those things that I do feel on fire with. So the things that I don't feel on fire with, somebody else does, and they can do that if it's meant to happen. And for me to just trust that there's enough for me to do that's exactly fulfilling and thrilling for me, that that the more I can just trust myself to only bring in those projects, the more fulfilled I feel. And they come, or I create them, or both. Well, the big one, I mean, I think all artists have, it's a cycle. It's part of a cycle. So there's always those times when you go, maybe I'm really completely inept at doing this. Maybe I know nothing. And I think it's important to have those times where we just really let it go. I mean, in every creative process, there's a time where you think it's not going to work and you let it go. But the deep, big, dark night of the soul for me was, there was about a year in 2012 when I went into really deep depression and was just carrying this huge weight on my shoulders from this project that didn't work, and all these thousands of people had believed in it and invested in it, and, or, you know, like donated to it before, this is pre-crowdfunding, we were trying to do a crowdfunding thing. And I just felt all this guilt that I couldn't make it work. It was the recession, it was all kinds of stuff. And I think it was also, I mean, it wasn't just that, it was also that I just had a lot to transcend in my own belief systems and patterns, and some really negative thought patterns. And what helped me was a support group and a system to teach me some tools for processing my life on a daily basis, and for looking at what I was the most scared of and sharing it with somebody privately, you know, and having them love me anyway. Feeling like I needed to apologize for some things that even things like not, like having a library book for years from this place that I was a boarding student at, and just like meant to give it back and never did, and it was just sitting there on my shelf. And I just finally gave it back with like $10 as a sorry. And it felt so good to just release some of those things. So some of those, and then building my network of support, building my community, and getting more in touch with meditating again, and spirituality. Because I let all of those things go. As I was like, oh, I don't have time for this, I don't have time. And I just got myself into this little, like, shell. And I had to Sometimes we go in there so that we can just excavate, I believe, so that I could just excavate all of that territory. And now someone can ask me about it and I can share about it because I went in and looked at it and transcended it. For me, I can't have a plan B because then I'm not putting everything into plan A. And as you covered, I put everything in. So for me, if I need to adjust plan A, which is continually checking in with plan A and allowing it to be moved by what's coming in the moment, for sure. And there are many times where I thought I was going to one particular purpose and it ended up leading me somewhere else. But to me, that's life. That's not failure.
Thank you for watching A Wise Way. Subscribe to stay updated, share to pass the knowledge, or view our other videos on the left.